Yes, you read the title right. I have not purchased a single brand new clothing item in over 3.5 years. And no, I am not making this up. And I'm going to tell you how I did that and what I learned from it. Did I do this intentionally? Not really. It just kind of happened in the start, and then I realized I did not care so much about buying just brand new clothes at all. But currently, I do kind of do it purposefully because I really don't want to break this streak. So, how did I start this? Almost 4 years ago, I was sort of forced to buy a new blouse for my cousin sister's wedding, as she has a dressing code for all of us. Even at that time, I hadn't been buying new clothes for over 6 months, but this occasion was sort of unavoidable, so I had to reset the whole timer. But after that, I decided that there would be no more compromises. On any occasion that I knew I was going to need something, I knew I was going to make sure I did not buy new clothes for it. And since then, which was December 2019, there has been no looking back. Yes, the fact that COVID happened and we were all at home for almost 2 years since then definitely has helped serve the purpose, but there were still times when I may have needed new clothes and I still chose otherwise. So, how hard is choosing to do this going to be? The first few months were fairly easy for me since I already have more than enough clothing. But from the 5th or 6th month, it felt like a very super conscious effort to say no to it when I was obviously tempted quite a bit by various ads on social media. But I had my own strategies that have definitely helped me quit. Firstly, I avoided shopping at malls completely. Window shopping usually tempts you beyond anything and it easily breaks your willpower, especially while at malls or even, shopping streets. So if you're starting out by saying no to new clothes, make sure that you don't go to any shopping malls or, shopping streets in the near future at least. Once your resistance builds up, then it does get easier and going to malls or these streets won't affect you as much. And going to malls, I don't bother buying new clothes there either. So for me, it's been much easier even when I go to a mall or if I go for street shopping, I just avoid, shopping for clothes sort of completely. So the next thing you can do is unsubscribe from all the emails from all clothing brands. We constantly get notified about offers and discounts and whatnot. It's unavoidable to feel at least a little bit weakened by these constant notifications. So the next thing I would recommend is to take time and unsubscribe from all of it. Not only would your inbox get cleaned up, but you will also find it easier to avoid shopping online as well. And when I say unsubscribe, I mean all of those shopping brands, Myntra, Meesho, Ajio, Urbanic or what not. Make sure you get no further junk mail from any of them at all. The next thing is to unfollow people that tempt you with frequent shopping hauls. I absolutely hate those constant fast fashion haul videos that are always popping up. Seeing them wear so many gorgeous clothes at super cheap prices can be quite tempting. So unfollow them until you can at least trust your willpower a little bit more. These are a handful of things that can help keep you away from constant temptation. So what did I actually learn from this experience? Well, firstly, I already have a lot of clothes with me. I have even ones which are almost a decade old. And so the need that I constantly feel about not having enough was just wrong. And I bet most of you are also just like me and living with a whole pile of clothes, some of which you even completely forgot about or never ever wore. And that was my first reality check. The second thing I learned was the art of mixing and matching. Every time I felt like I was bored of my clothes, which I'm sure you do too, I started taking it as a challenge and finding new ways to wear what I already had. I started matching items that I never would have done before, taking inspiration from, online style gurus, because I am no fashion guru. And the more and more I started experimenting with my own wardrobe, the less and less boring it became. And then I discovered my favorite, thrift stores. Yes, pre-loved clothes. And I already have a few videos on the same that you could hopefully take inspiration from. So anytime you really need to get something, choose secondhand instead. But be careful, because this is also sort of like a rabbit hole that could suck you in and make you purchase unnecessary clothes too. So keep your willpower strong and choose only the ones that you really, really need. It has happened to me where I have sort of got clothes that was not very much necessary, and then I had to give it away a little bit later. So make sure you don't overbuy, even if it's secondhand. The biggest discovery though was that I have probably saved thousands of rupees in these last 3.5 years, which I would probably have spent on new clothes otherwise. Just try and calculate how much you spent on clothes for a year, and you might even be shocked, because we sometimes never realize how much we're spending, but when the numbers pop out on us, we really learn our lesson. And if you want to know, now I spend less than 2,500 rupees on clothes for a year. So let me just add something that I recently did. So I went to Goa during the monsoon, and I knew I needed a raincoat, especially to drive around in the rains. What mostly people would do was just buy a raincoat because, that is what everybody does. But what I thought was, would I need this raincoat after I came back to Bangalore? Because I rarely drive here, especially during the rains. So I knew that I probably wouldn't need it afterwards. So what I did instead was borrow a raincoat from a complete stranger. And thankfully for me, this stranger turned out to be somebody from this community, and she was very kind enough to lend her raincoat to me for 2 weeks. So what I learned from this is that you don't need to always borrow from just your close friends or family. You could even ask around in your society or your office or with your colleagues whether they have whatever you need, especially if it's something that you need for a one-time use. So always try and borrow before you buy something, especially if it's not something you will need frequently. So these all may seem like a lot now, but it actually didn't really feel much of a big deal to me at that point. And I still may not buy new clothes for a bit longer until I maybe do major decluttering. And even then, I may still go for second-hand clothes any day. So I'm not sure when I'll be buying new clothes in the future. But yeah, there could be a time when I may, invest in a good piece of clothing from a sustainable brand for sure. But this obsession I used to have with clothes is long gone now. And I'm very proud of myself for that. And I also realize I'm way more content with my style now than I ever was before. And hopefully this video may have given you a little bit of, that push to try this out for yourself too. You don't need to start with a whole year. Just starting with 6 months is more than enough. But in that 6 months, no matter what the occasion or event you may have to attend, make sure that you stay away from purchasing any brand new clothes at all. That was how I managed to not buy any new clothes for over 3.5 years. Honestly speaking, it did not feel very hard. And let me tell you, over time, it gets so much easier and you don't even feel like you're doing a sacrifice or something. Instead, it actually feels like a very empowering action. So I'm hoping that it makes at least a few of you think about maybe following this route and giving your clothes shopping habit a rest for at least a bit. If you want to know more about secondhand shopping, check out this video over here, and if you would like to know what I carry around in my secondhand bag, check out this video over here. So I will see you next week with another video. So until then, stay happy, stay mindful.